Hi, everybody, and welcome to tonight's version of the lounge. Version? Why did I just say version? I don't mean virgin. Well, actually, it kind of is a version because the background, I am restructuring the lounge, I'm reorganizing the lounge, I'm redecorating the lounge. So, as you can see, we have a nice brass lamp back there, but that's not all you're going to see. This is just kind of like, hey, we're in the studio. The studio is being changed, but there's some really exciting things coming up. And of course, you guys want to know what the exciting things are. So, number one, first and foremost, over the last 6 months, I have been developing a quiz that I wrote myself. I did all the little calculations, and it actually tells you what your intuitive superpower is. So, if you're wondering, what intuitive gift do I have? I have a quiz to tell you. And because all of our lounge nights get special promos, right? You take the quiz right after you get your results, you're going to get a lounge special promo. Now, if you are already one of my students, if you are taking intuitive development classes, all that stuff, please, you don't have to go and take advantage of the special promo because you already have it. Sometimes my students do that. They're like, oh, Marissa's got something going on here. I'm going to go buy it. Please don't buy it if you're already a student. But if you want to take the quiz, see what your intuitive superpower is, and then get your results, all you got to do is click on the link in the description of the video. And I'm going to post it right here. What's your intuitive superpower quiz? Like I said, this is not, I picked out every picture. I spent 6 months on this thing. This is a free quiz to take, and it will tell you. And I had actually my students take it as kind of like a launch, like a beta test, see how it worked out. And they like really learned a lot about what their gift is, because you just think, oh, I'm a psychic or I'm a medium, but you really have many different gifts that you can have. So you're going to be assessed. Make sure you take the quiz, but you don't have to take it right now. You can take it after the show, or you can take it during the show, and then you could comment and be like, yo, this is what I am. Whoop-de-doo. Congratulations. Awesome. So hi, Eileen. Good to see you. Great to see you, actually. Oh my God, April, May, and the June bugs. April, I love you. Where have you been? We got to get you guys back on here. April has been one of our April, May, and Dave and the June bugs. They've been our house band once we started the lounge. They did our Halloween special, and then they did the Christmas special, and then they did every special, and they were on for like ever. We've missed you guys. We'd love to see you on again. I'd love actually, April, for you to take the quiz and tell me, yeah, this is what I got. Because some people think they're one thing and then they're another. Now, the good thing about intuition and intuitive development is you will have layers. So it's not like, if you get your astrology chart done and everything, maybe you're a Capricorn or maybe you're a Leo. But if you go and actually get your whole chart done, you will see that you have a rising sign, you have a moon sign, you have 20 other signs in your chart, depending on the time that you were born, right? So just like that, when you start your intuitive development journey, you're going to find out your dominant gift, which you're going to find that out through the quiz. And what you think you are may not be what you are, which is kind of interesting. And I just like kind of got off track because I'm like, ooh, April, what is she saying here? So then once you go into your intuitive development journey, then you're going to find out you have deeper gifts that are kind of like sub layers of the main gift. So this specific quiz is to find out really where you're dominant now, but you will add on to that like a cake, like a 7-layer cake. At first, like I'm not a baker. I know how to cook. I don't really bake. So I could make a cupcake. I've tried that, but it's not like I'm making 7 layers. But maybe down the road, I might do that. So this is kind of what intuitive development is like. So make sure you go and take the quiz. I put the link in the comments. It's also in the description. But I'm very excited about this quiz because I built it myself. This is not a copy and paste template. I built it. I picked the photos. I'm very excited about it. I picked all the photos. I made it visually stunning. And then, of course, one of my family members was like, why do you have a dog for like one of your quiz results? Like, what's that about? Why do you have a golden retriever like there? That makes no sense. I'm like, because I used to have a golden retriever when I was little. It's awesome. Like the dog was there. So if you see like a quiz result and it's a golden retriever, it really means nothing. It just means that I once had a golden retriever. So that's all. Spirit medium. Oh, we have a spirit medium here live. Usually they're lone wolves. We don't see a lot of spirit mediums in the same house. How are you, Clayton Silva? Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us today, your first time live. I would love to connect with you. We'd love to have you on maybe sometime. Thank you for connecting. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. So I have a wonderful, wonderful show, and Catherine didn't know that she was here for the launch of the big quiz. She had no idea. So I want Catherine to take the quiz and be like, "Is this?" I want Catherine to take the quiz and then tell me if this is what she thinks, because a lot of my students came into the intuitive development program, the one-on-one course. We have like a basic one-on-one course, and they figured out their dominant trait, which some people thought they were clairvoyant, some people thought they were like empathic. They didn't know. So then they kind of went through the course thinking that, and then I had them take the quiz on one of our live calls. They're like, "Oh, Marisa, I didn't know this." And I'm like, "Well, do you have this, and this happen in your life?" They're like, "Yeah." And that actually led them to thinking about a whole new career path, because your Claire pairs with your career, actually. So I'll get into that later, but I can't wait to connect with Catherine and our guest tonight. I'm very, very, very excited. So let me tell you a little bit about our guest, okay? How's that music? I think I'm going to turn it down, because when I talk about Catherine, you guys all need to pay attention, close attention, okay? So that was my little party for myself that I just had for building my quiz for the last 6 months, because I just had to throw a congratulation party for myself, because nobody else is like, "Oh, I see Marisa in the background making this quiz." So I have my lemonade. Thank you, Alex, for bringing me my lemonade. I got this at Home Goods. And these strawberries, if you ever go to Home Goods, I'm on a tangent. Sorry, Catherine. I will be right with you. I'm sorry. I'm going to go an extra 30 seconds. She's saying, okay. So when you go to Home Goods, if you get these pretty glasses for like the summer, or you want to have them outside on your porch, put them on your table. See these strawberries? They have a dye in them. So you have a nice cold glass and it looks so pretty, right? Strawberries. And then you put it on your table, and then that dye from the perspiration goes and actually stains your table. So if you go to Home Goods, get something that doesn't have red strawberries. But I love my lemonade. Now you say, "Hey, Marisa, you're intuitive, you're psychic. How do you not know that?" I'm sure somebody's saying that out there. I'm saying I'm a sucker for beautiful things. I'm a sucker because my clairvoyance, right? That's one of our gifts. I love the visuals. So I'm going to celebrate with my lemonade and my strawberries that stain everything. But I do have a coaster. It has already stained my coaster. I'm going to show you the stain. You see, it stains it. You can't really see with the lighting, because the light. Oh, there it is. There's the stain. But when you have a nice wood table, then you see a big red stain. Kind of like, what's going on here with these Home Goods glasses? Anyway, I love Home Goods. That's just my tangent that I'm going on. So, all right. Catherine, great. I am excited to have Catherine on, because we're coming into that season of alignment. We're coming into that season where people not only are aligning their relationships to their highest potential, but also aligning their creative life, their careers. So we need to get you guys kind of out of the train station, standing on the platform, onto the train, because you could be really doing a great job, making lots of money, but you could be like totally drained. I hear this a lot with nurses, right? People who come from a codependent background, maybe have grown up in a family where they had to fix people or help people, and then they go into the nursing field and they're all like, "Oh, Marisa, I'm so drained. Maybe I should go into hands-on healing work." I'm like, that's the worst thing you could do, is go into hands-on healing work and to take on everybody else's energy. So they're like, "Well, I love my job. I help people." I'm like, "No, who are you? Who are you? We have to find out who you are and where you align." Because sometimes we feel like, we need to take jobs or do things that, people think we should do or be, or our parents or society, whatever. So we're like, "But I want to be a banjo player." I'm not a banjo player, but maybe somebody out there does. Like, it's okay. And Catherine and I are going to talk about that, because once you shift your relationships, your career is all going to shift. You're going to have this life of total transformation. And that's where we're going, because intuitive development, as you all know, I have an intuitive development program. I also have a manifestation program. I also have a nervous system grounding program. And all three of those things are like a triangle that have to go together. You can't really manifest without tuning into your intuition. And you can't really tune into your intuition without really manifesting. I mean, and you can't really manifest or tune into your intuition if your nervous system is a mess. So, right, we have to work on every single level. Then once you hit alignment, it's like sitting in the lazy riverboat or ride. I don't think there's a lazy riverboat. If there would, I would be on it. Sitting in the lazy river ride and going on, and you're like, how is this so easy? Well, it's because you're aligned. So that's what Catherine and I will be talking about today. Let's talk about Catherine. She's an emotional alchemist. She's a master transformational coach, and she's a mind body medical intuitive healer and master NLP transformational coach who works with people who are tired of being tired. Like if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, yeah, and worried, she's for you. She can hear, see, and feel the emotional and physical energy leaks. Now, I've never heard this term, energy leaks in people, and help them plug up these leaks, kind of like a plumber. We had the energetic plumber on here once. This is kind of like she's getting the tiles, laying the tiles and grouting it, right? As a result, her clients regain sustained physical, emotional energy, recover faster from illnesses, attain mental clarity, self confidence, and feel more at peace with themselves and happier in their relationships. This is cool now. Catherine is a hang glider. Now, this is funny. I come from Northeast PA, so our wording is like different than most people in the world. Okay. I always thought it was hand gliding, right? But it says here, it says hang glider pilot. And I'm like, for all of Regina, she's like, wow, what an intro. I know it's the lemonade and the strawberry cup. I know. Sometimes you never know what I'm going to do. So, hang gliding pilot, not hand gliding, which for all this time, many, many decades of my life, that's what I thought it was, has a nurse practitioner diploma and is currently pursuing a doctorate in natural medicine. We're going to be talking about the energy equation and energy leaks, how to recognize them and plug them up. No pun intended. What we are creating when we're creating the same patterns in our relationships or our careers or our friendships, how to break free from that and manifest something different. Going to the grand buffet of life, where quantum physics and the law of attraction meets so that people can create a life they love. And she's going to be offering a lounge and night promo as well, because you guys all benefit. So welcome to the stage, to the screen, Catherine.
Yay!
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I talked to you backstage for the first time, like ever, and I love your energy because you like aren't coming in as somebody who's got all these messed up issues and you're like telling people how to live their life. Like you actually, I feel, have done it. You've actually
Yes.
surpassed, like you've actually been in the trenches. You've come out of the trenches and you're ready to tell us like about you, what you did and what it's time to do, I guess, for everybody. Cause we're coming in, September. Once the summer hits for people in the US, I know you're in Canada, people in the US, it's like nobody does anything in summer. Everybody goes to the shore and, nobody really works on themselves in the summer. It's when the fall hits, everyone's like, oh, I got to get manifesting, got to get working. So perfect timing for you to come on.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. And what a great time to be aligned in alignment with the Lionsgate portal and all that. So, um,
Yes. Do you
yeah.
want to talk about that? You want to tell us a little bit about the Lionsgate portal so people, because I think people see it on Instagram, see it on Facebook, but they don't really know what it is.
Sure. I'm by no means an expert about it, but I know the veil is very thin between the visible and the invisible world, and it's a good time to uproot any old emotions, old wounds, do some healing work, and align yourself with your essence, with what you want to create in your life. And it's a great time for manifesting. So we just got to get the clutter out so that the manifesting can be easier. Um,
That's right.
yeah,
Emotional, mental, physical, psychological, psychic clutter. There's a lot of clutter. We got to do a cleanup job here, you know?
yeah,
So
totally.
you just look so calm, so peaceful, so just like if I were to sit next to you, be like, I'm just going to sit and have a cup of tea with her. But maybe that's not how you used to be. And so what you explained to me, oh, you have the cup of tea. Good. See, I know the cup of tea. So tell us about how life was before you made your own transformation and kind of what brought you to that place.
Yeah, thanks for acknowledging that. Doing the inner work is a journey, and it's not a magic pill that you can take. So, if I look back on my life, even let's say 7 years ago, I was basically living the life that other people wanted me to live. I had a great nurse practitioner job for which I had studied. I had amazing patients and colleagues, and I had a relationship. And somehow, in the middle of all of that, I just was not fulfilled. I remember sometimes coming home from work and having to pull over on the side of the road and crying and being like, is this all that there is to life? I feel like I've got so much more to tap into and to offer. And but it was like, yeah, but I have to have a good job and to have money, and I studied for this, and I need to look a certain way and not offend people and not provoke them, and the relationship I was, great person, but it just was not aligned. And life is very intelligent in its way of being like, okay, how long are you going to wait until you create that life that you love? Like, and then when you start asking these questions, like, what's my purpose? And what am I here to do? And then now your soul is like on fire, like, oh yeah, now you're asking the right questions. So are you going to just leave that soul sucking job, or you want me to get you fired? And are you
Yeah.
right? Are you going to leave that relationship that's really not aligned with you, or do you want me to get you dumped? Right? And so for
Ooh.
me, right? I mean, life is intelligent in that way. Life happens for us, not to us. And so for me in 2016, it was Lyme disease that hit really, really hard. And that was my hero's journey. And that's a total different subject because I talk a lot about Lyme and how I found found out what it was and treated myself and recovered. But in the process, it required a lot of emotional healing, uprooting the not good enough belief, the have to be a certain way. And then it became pretty clear that I had to leave my nurse practitioner job because I was no longer feeling aligned with the medical paradigm. And the longer I was staying in there, the sicker I was becoming. And it was
Right,
kind of a
right, right.
right? Like
Yeah.
a 4 months kind of arguing with my soul. My soul was like, "All right, you gotta leave that job." And I'm like, "What? What do you say?" "Yeah, you
Right.
gotta leave that job," right? And it's like, "I can't do that." And, so it was the job, and then it was the relationship, and then it was like a total life makeover, and I can really say this is a 2.0 life for me. Uh,
Yeah, 2.0.
right? And, just it's a constant, I mean, it's a constant work in progress for alignment, but now I know myself so much better. I live in 2 countries now. I healed Lyme disease, been able to come back to flying hang gliders because 'cause you're hanging from the
Oh,
glider.
okay. Not hand gliding because 'cause you're holding it with your hand is what I thought. I don't know.
Yeah, and then doing amazing work with clients all around the world that I really, really love, and I just feel like I'm, in French, we have this expression when you're on your X, right? Like you're at the right place at the right moment doing the thing that's super aligned for you, and now I know when I'm not aligned with myself because I have clear signs of that,
Right.
and yeah,
It's like when you're not aligned, you can make the excuse that you don't know better, and then when you are, you're like, "Oh, I know better." Yeah,
yeah,
I can't say I
yeah,
didn't know better, right? And I wanna talk about what you had just mentioned because I talked about this in my monthly energy forecast, this month. So if you don't get my monthly energy forecast, the link is also in the description. It goes into your inbox every month. I go over the key dates and the energies for every month, and you get that in your inbox. It's free. Uh, but I talked about how people were going to be just waking up and saying, I don't want to do this anymore. And they won't know what to do with that. I know I didn't know what to do with that because my whole style of work is like changing. You know what I mean? Everything has been changing, building these courses, doing the lounge, everything over the last couple of years. But people are going to be waking up and having that moment that you had, that I had, and you really, as intuitive as I am and as intuitive as you are and like self-aware, it can't just you wake up and have that moment, but there's practical things you kind of have to do to shift that. So, but it's like very shocking when you wake up with that moment and you're like, what do I do with this? Right? How do I separate myself from everything I've known myself to be for 25 years? Right.
It's scary.
It is. So let's talk about that moment. You, I mean, there is that moment that we celebrate where you have that revelation, but then it's like, what do you do with it? So tell me about that limbo period. Like when you had that revelation, what did you do to get to that next 2.0 career? Like, what did you have to do to make that transition?
Oh, wow. Yes, that is, that's quite, it's quite a journey. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you reverse engineer that? But, for me, it was the illness that was just pushing me to, um, to not question the intuitive hits that I was getting, right? I was like, "Okay, don't question this, do that." And I made decisions that normally I would never make, or have made in the past, that it just felt right, even though it was scary. I have to say that, 15 years of hang gliding has made me kinda trust my wings when I jump off a cliff, basically. So
Yeah. Scary.
it well,
Jeez.
yeah. It's it's kind of, human beings' biggest, or some of their biggest fears, to kinda jump in the void. So every time I was coming to like life brings you those kind of crossroads, right? And you can either go there or there or there. And sometimes it's a matter of like microseconds that you're like, oh yeah, there, but oh, I can't give myself permission to want that. Well, that's the shift. I went the other way so often, not denying myself what I wanted, and then I was like, well, how's that working out for you, Catherine?
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
So, and it's thinking about some of the times in my life that I've made decisions that were successful. So, if I'm looking towards your people, think about a time when you were uncertain of something and you made a decision that felt aligned, but yet it was scary. And I have to say, scary might be excitement on pause. And in hindsight, it was the right decision. So you kind of bank on these scary but aligned decision, and you follow the breadcrumbs. And for me, that was it. I was following the breadcrumbs of my intuition was being like, okay, go there. All right, go there. All right, it's going to be time to quit your nurse practitioner job soon, because my business was not even a year old as a coach. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't. Oh my gosh, I can't. But then my soul was like, yeah, just trust, just lean into it, just lean into it. And at a certain moment, I had evidence that my business was fully supporting me, even
Wow.
though I was sick with Lyme. I was not working at my full capacity, and yet I was successful at it. And I was like, okay. And one day I just felt the total alignment. Like I woke up one day and it was like, all right, now's the time. Now's the time. But it was a 4 months of kind of mental, emotional, physical preparation before I quit that job. And then I knew that my relationship with was the next thing. And then I told my soul, okay, one divorce at a time. Start with the job,
Yeah, right? Start with the job.
right? But I knew a year in advance that this relationship was going to be misaligned, and we're going like this. And nothing wrong with the person, a super good man, but I just could foresee, and I didn't want to admit it to myself for a long time, but a year before it happened, I kind of set an intention that if we are to go that way, may it be the best separation of my life. And you know what? It was.
Oh
And
my
we're still,
god.
yeah, and we're still friends today. And he flies paragliders, I fly hang glider. We see each other at the club, we just hug, and it was following my gut. And I think that for me to be in a survival moment, because Lyme disease was survival for me, it it did not allow my analytical mind to come and question things. I was going with my intuition and my gut because I was in that survival mode. Now, I
Yeah.
don't recommend anybody to catch Lyme or any illness to put yourself in a survival mode. But I have to say that in the end, it was intuition, intuition, intuition. And if I was resisting it, I would soften myself into considering all the possibilities, and then coming after several months, coming into like the tunnel of decision of like, oh yeah, I knew this months ago. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now's the time. So don't know if that makes sense, but I
No,
think that
that
was my
that
process.
that makes total sense, and I just what you did was so difficult to do.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, and I've been there many, many times where I have to recreate myself or recreate my life, and you just don't think, I had clients, like, when I've recreated many times over the years of my career, it's like I work differently now, or 10 years ago I started to work differently, or I started to work on take different types of sessions over others. And I was always like, "Oh, well, people want me to do it the way I did it 10 years ago or 15 years ago." And so people don't like change sometimes, but the right people I had to trust would stick with me to know that the way I'm evolving is actually to serve them and to serve other people, because that's what's needed right now on the earth plane.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
15 years ago, yeah, people needed like mediumship, and that's where things were 15 years ago. Now people need that, but they also need transformation here to learn how to live in this world, because so much is changing here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I
you
heard
know what I'm
something
saying?
really, I think you're going to dig about change. Change is uncomfortable. The only human beings that are comfortable with change is a baby with a wet diaper.
Right. Right. I
Yeah.
have to ask you too, like, everybody's probably wondering, like, you left that relationship, and I know you told me backstage that you have the love of your life now, and we all love a good love story on the lounge.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how did you go from, I'm sure you've had patterns and cycles where people were misaligned with you, and you've probably been repeated those cycles like a lot of us do. And it's really hard, I think, and like you said, when we get those intuitive gut feelings and we're on that path to transformation, we're on that path to change. When we are in alignment with something, it's not going to feel right sometimes. It's going to feel scary, but you're like, that's excitement. That's something we don't recognize.
Yeah.
So it's not going to feel normal to go along with it if we naturally went into our cycles and patterns. It's not going to feel right to do.
Yeah. Because
So
it's not your new normal yet.
so you will be nervous. You will be scared. I did zip lining for the first time recently, and like they had you rappel and like jump off this like cliff, like, and just trust this, and I was like
Ooh.
shaking. It was scary. Oh my god. I was like, I just was signed up for the zip line. I didn't sign up to like jump off the cliff, do you know what I'm saying? So I had to trust like the cables and the things, and I was like, it was something I've always wanted to do, but like I'm a big with like anything that doesn't support me and my like feel foundation on. I get a little shaky, and like I'm like, I guess I got to do this, and I'm glad I did. I didn't like it too much, but I'm glad I did it. But I can't even imagine like hang gliding. That's because that's like you're really jumping off a cliff. Like, this was like, a little course here. You're really jumping off a cliff. So you're going to be scared. You're going to be nervous. And that's kind of a metaphor and a symbolism. But like, I think with relationships, I think if you're following certain patterns,
Mm.
cycles in romantic relationships, which a lot of my clients do, um, they'll be like, "Oh, I feel this connection. I feel this spark. I just can't deny it. I have to move toward this person." But their intuition is being like, that's bad. Nobody else likes that person." But yet, like, they're like, "I just can't." Like, there's that spark. There's that rush, and it's kind of like I try to tell people, like, that's an alarm system. Like, that's not meaning it's a good thing. It's what's familiar to you, what you're hardwired to. But like, if some of these people that, are my clients, I'm like, what if you went to dinner and somebody was like, hit all of those marks and they were nice to you, brought you flowers, like did everything for you, you'd probably not want them. And because they wouldn't feel a connection, because of their patterns. So like, how'd you do it?
Yeah. One thing I want to say about relationships is, oh gosh, I was so lost in relationships. But if you think about what kind of vibration you were in when you met a person, a past relationship, what kind of vibration you attracted that person from. I know that in my past,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm a nurse practitioner in my previous career. In my past, I attracted a lot of people that I needed to save. right?
Yeah,
The
right.
savior. Oh
Let's
my
see.
gosh, finding the validation and the and in the connection when you can bring something of value to someone and then save them. Oh my gosh. And I think
The
after
catch and release.
yes.
Catch the fish, fix them up, release them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I met my partner currently, I think I was very aware of past patterns of relationships and I was like, okay, I'm done with the savior syndrome. I'm done wanting to save people. I'm done taking them on as projects. And I just want somebody I wanted the jackpot basically because I'm someone who's got a scientific mind and I'm very spiritual and intuitive and can I'm an artist and I'm also a musician and I'm an athlete and I love to read and do things active and less active. I love to go in nature. And I remember some of my friends in past relationships, they were like, I was unsatisfied and they were like, Catherine, just find somebody with whom you have some, common things. And then for the rest of the passions that you have, just connect with other people. And I was like, I'm not buying that. There must be one jackpot somewhere, somebody who's like me in the world.
A what? A
Well,
jackpot?
a jackpot,
Oh,
when you win.
a jackpot. I was like, "What's a
Yes.
jackpot?" I don't know what a jackpot is. This is like some sort of Canadian word. Like that must be
No.
like a stud, like a jackpot, but
Well,
a jackpot. Okay, I get
yes, that's
it.
part of it too. And
Yeah.
so I got really clear with what kind of relationship I wanted and even made my list of kind of criterias and not necessarily the height and the color of the eyes, but how I wanted to feel in the relationship and the things that I wanted to share with that person. And sure enough, I was in Florida at a hang gliding site in 2019, and I was trying to put my glider in a hangar with all of the other gliders, and I was trying to sneak it in between two gliders so that nobody else would see me. And then this person walked towards me, and I just looked and I went, "Oh!" It was this instant
Wow.
knowing. It was
Really?
it was that quick, like the way he walked and just his energy, and I found out I was trying to sneak my glider next to his that was in the hangar. Anyways, and it just clicked. And he's 25 years older than me. He was still married at the time, but they were already in the process of separation. And so
Wow.
at first I was like, oh, do I really want to step into this? Like,
Right,
the
right.
divorce, it's not done
Yeah.
yet. And okay, and is he gonna just decide to go back to his ex-wife? And but again, I kind of followed the breadcrumbs and I sat with my intuition. And at some point, I told him, I just need to meditate for 2 days. Just give me some space, and I'll come back to you. And then when I decided I'm in, I was like, okay, this feels completely aligned. And we hang glide together, we kayak, we bike, we're both in the field of medicine, and he's completely accepting of my woo side and my intuition. And sometimes
Yeah.
I ask him, I said, "Do you find me weird when I tell you about these things?" He says, "Catherine, at this point, nothing that you're gonna bring to me is weird. It's just you." I'm like, "Ah,
Wow.
that's so sweet." Yeah.
So,
So
like, you guys are together now and he's divorced and everything kind of moved forward for you.
yeah, and we're married, and
Oh,
we
you got
live
married.
in
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't realize so he's your husband now.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and we live in Canada and Florida, half, you know, the year. And we just that was a dream that I had in 2008. I was sitting by a river in Georgia at a flight park where I was flying hang gliders, and I was thinking, how can I be physically in places where I can be at the right place at the right moment to fly hang gliders more often, where the weather is good and I can still work and do the things that I love. And I mean, back then I had no, that was 2008. There was no such things as online coaching and all these things. I was just a
Yeah, yeah.
seed that I sent into the universe from a place of true desire. Well, it took me about 11 years to manifest that, but it
That is
did.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And can I ask you, and then I'll get to the chat. I didn't forget about you guys in the chat. I'm just kind of going off on a tangent with
Yeah.
Catherine, but we'll get to the
Mhm.
chat. Did he know? Like, you had that moment of instantaneous knowing. Did he have that moment too?
Oh yeah,
He
he
did. So
did.
his
Oh
intuition.
yes.
And did
Yep.
you do any past life searching? Do you feel like you guys have been together before?
I do. We didn't do any past life searching. I mean, I've done some on my side. He's not really kind of coachable in that way. He's just like, do your thing.
Yeah, do your thing.
But it really does. It's not the first life that we spent together. It really
Okay.
has that kind of really strong bond from the very beginning. And
Yeah.
he just knew, and he was fully in the relationship before me. So it took me a while to
Okay.
catch the
Right.
train.
Right. Because you're like, yeah, I'm not getting involved with you if you have like a wife, like you're married. Like, I'm not getting involved with that. Like, you wanted to do it the right way, which I
Yeah,
respect.
yeah.
And but it was just interesting because I think sometimes you meet married people and one person knew, the other person didn't, but somebody had that intense feeling, but both of you had it at the same time, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
and he had been calling that in his life. It had been 10 years of just unfulfilled marriage on his side, and he was calling in big love. He just wanted that big love, and then big
he
love
got
arrived.
it. You're the big love. You're the jackpot that he needed
Right.
in his life. Great. Well, let me get to the chat. Eileen, you took the test. So if anybody just came on to the stream and don't know what the test is, I have been developing a quiz for 6 months to try to tell you what your intuitive superpower is. So if you take the quiz, I'm going to put the link again in the comments. You can like scroll up. It's in the comments, the description of the video. Eileen took it. I'm wondering what you got, Eileen, because you're one of our regulars. You're on the lounge all the time. So please let me know what you got. Uh, oh, how you doing, Avocado Wisdom? I know who you are. You've been on the show many times. Thanks for coming back. X is a sweet spot. Let's see, Courtney. I don't know if I've seen you on the lounge before, but hello. She's saying your entire life shifted last month. I did my true first spiritual awakening. That is amazing. Congratulations. That will be the first of many for you. I just feel that. I think it's going to be the next 15 years of your life is going to be amazing. April, wow, resonating with this so much, recovering from Lyme's that shifted to Graves, now in recovery cycle. So
Mhm,
this is, I know we didn't put this in the description that you were, uh, but this is interesting that you and April are connecting and that she's watching the show tonight. So I think it's a big help for her. Matthew, good to see you. I haven't talked to you in a while, Matthew. Good to see you. And I'm interested to see if you take the quiz, what your intuitive superpower is, because I know you. Regina, so you took the test too. So, is anybody going to tell me their results? Please take the test. So I'll put it. I'll put the quiz in the comments again, and you just click on the link and tell me what your superpower is. And like I said, all of our lounge nights get a special promo with Catherine and with me. So if you take the quiz, you'll see an extra special lounge promo at the end of it, as well as your results. April Clarkota says, interesting. A lot of musicians are. They just don't realize it because they just know. They know the music. They
mm.
know, this very cool. I was interested to see what your ability was. You don't know how you know, you just know. Clark Cognizance. Paula sounds interesting. Oh, hugs to back to you. Courtney, first time here. Welcome to the lounge. We're a little crazy in here, but we have a great community. We welcome you. We hope you'll be back next week. All right. So I want to ask you, Catherine, we're going to talk about some key takeaways for people and the energy equation and energy leaks. So, how to recognize
Mhm.
them and plug them. What exactly is an energy leak?
Yes, that might have been just from my professional background when I was a nurse working in ER. You know, when there's an artery that's leaking, you want to plug that as fast as possible. So I realized that I could feel, see, and hear when people are leaking their energy. They're basically, it's like their personal power is leaking, and they don't know why they're feeling so tired or so frustrated or irritated or stuck. And so I developed this energy equation, which I'm happy to share with the show, so we can put it in the notes afterwards. But it's basically how you generate your energy plus how you invest your energy in ways that you get a bigger return on investment. It's just like money, like you
Yeah,
go for
energy exchange, yeah.
right, you go for coffee with
Yeah.
somebody and you come out more pumped than you were when you went in. Or hopefully the other person is not depleted, but hopefully you both
Yeah.
are pumped. And then you divide these two things by the energy leaks. And these are so potent that when we start plugging these things, people are like, oh my gosh, I've got energy, I've got motivation, I've got mental clarity. I don't know where was this hiding all this time? So energy leaks are something, they can be in the physical, pain is an energy leak. If your immune system is activated, like I've had all day with allergies, that's an energy leak. But the energy leaks are mostly in the emotional body and in the emotional and the mental. And it's things like not following your intuition, like, oh, I should have done this. Or it's saying yes to people and circumstances, but in your heart, it really said no. And you're kind of having to force yourself to go there. It's a huge energy leak. It's going to take you more energy than it would have ordinarily. It's comparing yourself with other people, feeling not good enough, the perfectionism. Oh, I have to get it perfect, otherwise I can't get it, at all done at all. It's all the heavy, dense emotions that are living under the surface, like guilt, shame, fear, anger, sadness, all of these emotions that most people do not want to feel, so they're just stuffing them with either, you know, entertainment, cookies, codependent relationships,
Cookies.
whatever, whatever it is. But
That
most
sounds
people do
good.
not, right?
Yeah. I'll take a
if you're not
cookie.
if you're not stuffing your emotion with it, then it's great. But if you're
Yeah,
stuffing
yeah.
emotion, then that cookie won't be so good for you.
Right, yeah, that's true, that's true.
Right? So all of these are energy leaks that it's just like it's eating away at your energy in the background, and you end up waking up in the morning not feeling super motivated for your day, kind of dragging your feet, feeling frustrated, feeling like there is more, but you just can't reach it. Repeating same patterns in relationships because it takes energy to say no to something familiar and say yes to something unfamiliar. Like you were saying earlier, if you're changing, but yet you haven't yet calibrated to your new level, it can be scary. Well, it also takes energy. If you think about electrons when they jump, levels, it's an exchange of energy. It takes energy to make a leap into your 2.0 life, right? There's some input of energy there. So if you're tired to start with, it's going to be much harder to change your life. So does that help to kind of
Oh, absolutely,
put some
absolutely.
imagery? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we have the energy leaks, which are so eloquently defined, thank you. How do we plug them up is the question.
Yes. Yes. So any
So
journey of transformation has 3 steps.
oh, I love the step-by-step system.
Right? And
Yeah.
the first step, so it's also how we plug the energy leak. So the first step is always awareness. It's awareness of what is it in your life that you're tolerating? What is it that's kind of making you frustrated? What is lessening your joy in your life? And it's becoming aware of these things that maybe you've been living with them for so long that you think it's normal, but it's really not. So it's taking a good look at your life. And oftentimes I find that it helps to have somebody outside to help kind of pan out and look at all the things and go into the feelings of being like, oh yeah, that didn't feel good. Oh yeah, in my relationship, when I'm with the person, I'm mostly anxious. Oh, okay. And the anxiety started when? Oh, when we started the relationship. Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's becoming aware of them is the first step. And the second step in any healing or transformational journey is the actual transformation. It's walking yourself through the unfamiliar path. It's when you close a door behind you and the door in front of you is not yet open, there is kind of that dark tunnel that can have slimy walls and cobwebs and be a little bit scary. But you know that if you go back there, you're just going to face the same frustrations and the same unfulfillment. So it's having the courage to keep going into that transformational journey. And when you open the door, And then that's the third step, that's wholeness. It's coming back into your whole being, which means this whole alignment: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, purpose, career. So it's basically plugging your energy leaks happens synergetically. It's not like, oh, one thing here, okay, oh, one thing there, okay. It's like once you start being aware of these things and you start plugging some of these leaks, other leaks will get plugged as well, because you have to come in alignment. If you say to yourself, okay, I'm no longer available for codependent relationships, well, that's a big door that you're closing behind you. And there are going to be many things that will align. It's not just in your intimate relationship, it can be at work and in your family.
Mhm.
Things will improve synergetically, kind of all together, if that makes
Yes,
sense.
because you're kind of shifting up, but I do see some people kind of when people are going through this, my clients go through this, when we take them through a process of transformation, I think sometimes people think, "Oh, I just have to have that shift and that awareness that I need to change." And I'm like, "No, no, it's not a one-time thing, it's not a one session thing, it's not a one reading thing. This is work that takes a little while." And
Yes.
it happens in layers. And I think, Catherine, what you said is having a mentor, having a coach, having a spiritual advisor, having a therapist, whatever you align with, is having somebody objective to say, I'm hearing you say this. Are you realizing kind of what's going on? And having kind of an intuitive life strategist by your side to kind of take you through that process. I went through it, Catherine went through it, and everybody's process is a little bit different. And there's no like cookie cutter, like time frame that you can be like, okay, like let's start this process. And in 3 months, this is where you'll be. It's kind of like it's organic, it's at your pace. And it's kind of like, what do you want? What you're saying is like, I think people, it's like they look at things as black and white, like either I'm not healed or I'm healed. And it isn't like in those two compartments. It's kind of like there's a little bit of both as you kind of go along, you know? So sometimes there's tests that come along of, hey, do you want this still in your life, that pattern? Because you're transitioning between two different frequencies. You're going to have that limbo period where you're experiencing both frequencies at the same time and having trouble holding that next frequency, if that makes sense. I hope I'm not getting too advanced here, but it's kind of like
No.
you will be experiencing both worlds and being like, nope, I don't want that. Nope, I don't want that. Okay, yes, I do want this. And you're kind of bringing in more of the new energy into your experiencing and kind of leaving behind less of that. But it doesn't all just go away one day and like all these new experiences come. I'm sure it has happened. People have spiritual experiences like that. But my process was a little bit slower. And there's a lot of backsliding where I was like, oh, I did all this work and I can't believe this is happening again. And feeling that like hopelessness and being like, okay, I just got to get up and do it again. And look back and say, okay, well, I've caught like I have changed and I have made progress, and it all is all about progress. But you will have those destined points, like you're talking about those pathways that you hit on those alignment. I always tell people like I read people's intuitive roadmaps. I take out their map of life, and there are so many pathways you could follow. You have free will to choose when you're at that place in the woods, and there's all these paths in front of you, and it is scary to go along the path where you're seeing the golden bricks and you're like, do I deserve this? Like, is that really a castle or is it like a fake, like mirage that I'm going to go toward? Like, this is scary. I'm more familiar with the brushes and the thorns and all the darkness. Like, I know how to, maneuver through that, and it's kind of weird, but that's how it is sometimes. And so,
Yeah. Sometimes it's too simple or it seems too easy.
yeah, and you're, like, scared of it because 'cause you're like, "Oh, when's that shoe gonna drop here?" You know? "When's that shoe gonna drop?" But it could be that easy. When you're in alignment, it is that easy. So I wanna talk
Yeah.
to you, let me just get to some people in the chat here. Regina, you took the quiz. Your results said you're an emotional wizard. Well, that's not a quiz result that I have, but it may have been in the description. So I'd like you to go back and say, are you an intuitive empath, clairvoyant, clairaudient, or claircognizant? But yes, you are an emotional wizard as well. But I'm wondering what the actual result was. Tuyen, yes, Tuyen is one of our lovely intuitive development students. She is in the course, so don't take up that promo, Tuyen, because that's that's you're already there. Okay, you're already there. Claircognizance, great. So I want to know, Tuyen, that when you first started the intuitive development course and you took 101, what did you think you were, and versus what you found out with this quiz? I'm interested to hear if it was the same or a little bit different. Tim, it's a lot of hard work. Yes, Tim, I've been working with Tim a really long time. He's one of my best clients. He's a loyal fan of the lounge. He is just he's so self-aware, doing so much of his work. And I'm happy to hear that you are letting go. Huge shift because you deserve it, Tim. You deserve all that happiness. And I know it's been hard for you, but you have been making progress. I know that. So keep on going. Paula, intuitive empath. Yes, a lot of intuitive empaths in the lounge audience. A lot of intuitive empaths take on that role of feeling everything, and usually are the healers. They're the nurses. They're the people that take care of others. But the intuitive empaths, as we shift with this new dimension in the world, the intuitive empaths have to take a step back and allow other people to step up for themselves. That's the goal. That's the lesson for the intuitive empath in the next 3 years. So, Paula, think about that. All right. I want to talk about your work a little bit, Catherine. And you have a little promo for our lounge members for tonight. And I just want to let you know where to find Catherine if you want to connect. And I would definitely suggest connecting. Go on Instagram to Catherine Transformational Coach. It's very easy. If you forget
Yeah.
it, just press play. Catherine Transformational Coach. You can like her on Facebook at Catherine. Is it Gagnon?
Gagnon, yes.
Gagnon at dot transformational coach. And then you have her website here. Make sure you put this .ca dash en. And
That's for
we're going to
English.
English.
Yeah.
And guess what, guys? This is something she doesn't do. For you guys, if you want to have an initial session with Catherine, and everybody's session will be different. Everybody's session will be looking into you and your pathways and your channels. 25% off for the Lounge Nights discovery session with Catherine. Is this correct? I forgot to. The discount will
Yes.
be okay. The discount will be applied as a refund to your card when people mention that they came from the lounge show. So just mention Marissa in the lounge, and Catherine will know who I am. And to book a discovery session. And Catherine, we're going to put this in the description of the video after the show. And Catherine, you can also put this link in the comments because you can't actually comment from a guest on the StreamYard here. So you
Okay.
could actually put that in for your when we're off the show, you can actually comment in the chat with your link.
Awesome.
And
Thank
if you
you.
guys have any questions for Catherine or for me, we have a couple more minutes before we close down the lounge for this evening and settle into your weekend. And so much energy tonight in the lounge. So exciting. So happy to be live with you guys again. Just so you know, the next 2 weeks of the lounge will be reruns. Okay. Because I'm taking a little time off before we get settled for September. And I'm going to be coming up with the lineup that's going to be great. More NDE interviews. You guys have something you want to see? We are getting ready to launch a new season theme for the lounge as we do. And so if you guys liked certain shows, you want to see them again, let me know. We're going to be picking out some of the best from the last year and rerunning them the next 2 Fridays. But wow. April saying, wow, that went so fast. It really did. And April,
It
I
did.
think April and Catherine, that's a good connection. You guys need to connect. Avocado. How are you? Thanks, Marissa and Catherine. Good night, Lounge Nights. Hope everyone has a beautiful, rich, and adventurous life. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Coach. Awesome. Is there anything else that I missed, Catherine, that you would like to maybe speak to our audience about?
Just something to add. I would like to encourage everybody to not tolerate things that are bringing your life down. Sometimes I
Mm,
talk about the grand buffet of life, the quantum field, if you want, the field of all possibilities. And when we're kind of keeping ourselves shy from our desires, it's like we're invited to this great buffet, but we're going at it with with such a small plate, or with our eyes closed, hoping that we're going to put in our plate the things that we like. So why not be intentional? Why not be um, embodying the total capacity of what you can be and what you can have in your life? So that includes just having the courage to dive deep within yourself, and to uproot and ditch the old beliefs, the old stuff that doesn't belong anymore there. And I have to say that with the work that I do with my clients, I find that a lot of stuff has been transferred from past generations and past lives, and we can go back in those times to uproot these limiting beliefs and those events that still have a grip on you today. So you can have a life that you love. Don't settle for less. It would be that would be my last kind of setting off for the
Hey,
evening.
I think that was wonderful. And once again, you can have a 25% off discovery session with Catherine. Great opportunity to transform your life. I always tell people, use your intuition. She's going to put this link, and you can also copy and paste it, but she's going to put this link in the comments section of when we're done. She's going to go into the comments, put this link for you guys, and we'll put it into the description of the video as well. But I always tell people, we have a lot of teachers on the show. We have a lot of coaches. We have a lot of transformational guides. We have a lot of energy healers. We have a lot of intuitives. You have to watch these shows and listen to your body. And if something's telling you, Catherine's the woman for me, book a session. You don't have to like have everybody as a mentor, but go with your gut on who you feel is right for you. So if you're feeling connected with Catherine, reach out. You know, all you might have to do to make a shift is take that first step and make an appointment. Like, really, that's all you might have to do. And I always feel like that wizard, that guide is always lighting the next step with a little lantern with a small flame. We're not going to see the whole picture. You're just going to see the next step, because sometimes we feel a little bit safer if we're able to see the end point. But this is a journey, not a destination. And the universe will guide you once you step into an action step. And I urge some of you, if some of you are like, hey, I want to take the intuition class, the promo that Marissa's offering, maybe that's your next step. Maybe you want to book a session with Catherine. Maybe you want to book a session with me to look over your life map, to give you some strategy on which path would be best and how to make sure you're aligned with that. Whatever you're feeling is right for you. I want you to take that first step and like really tune into your body, not your mind, and say, what feels good to me right now? What feels right? Because a lot of us don't listen to our body. We just are in our heads most of the time. So, yeah. So that's all I have to
Amen to that.
say. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, everybody, for coming on tonight. And we will see you. You're going to see me next week, but you're not going to be able to, like, it's not really going to be me, but it will be next 2 weeks. You'll see me live if you need some entertainment. And we'll see you in September. So thanks, Catherine, for actually closing our season up with our live performances. I really appreciate it.
Wow. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks everyone for your presence. Lots of love and life.
Yeah, lots of love. See you guys soon. Bye.